Hey everybody, so the sale days are now here on Amazon as well as Flipkart. And if you're looking out to buy a flagship phone from Apple or Samsung under 40,000 rupees, then you get one option from each of them. That is this S23 and the iPhone 13. And both are really good phones and flagships of their time. But does it make sense to buy one from these two? And which one should you buy? Well, I'll help you decide in this video. And I got the iPhone 13 last year at 38,000 rupees, and you can manage both of these devices at a similar price point depending upon when you buy them. So I'm going to divide this review into 5 major aspects. First, build quality and hardware. Second, software and features. Third, battery life and charging. Fourth, camera. Fifth, performance and gaming. And lastly, the conclusion. Now, the build quality is something Apple has clearly mastered in, and this iPhone 13 is a 3-year-old device now with this ugly notch as per today's standard. But it is still a really well built phone, and after a year, my device still looks pretty new and it screams premium all over. The S23 on the other hand hasn't been the best in terms of build quality, and it got dents and marks even inside the case. So a skin is much recommended, but for what it's worth, the S23 is also solidly built, and I like the fact that it feels quite light and compact in hand, unlike any other phone out there. The buttons and everything are better on the Apple than S23. So kudos to Apple for nailing the build quality at least every time. The display is something I clearly prefer the S23 on, and it looks really great, plus the small punch hole over the bathtub notch is something you would love as well. Even if we ignore the notch on iPhone, it is still stuck on 60Hz, and while the animations are super smooth, you do feel the lack of smoothness while scrolling. So unless you are used to 60Hz maybe, you can live with it. But the color accuracy on the iPhone 13 is more than that on S23, and it shows true colors, which I personally prefer. Let's talk about the second aspect, that is software. So Apple is usually known to give out support for like 6 to 7 years roughly, and this iPhone 13 will get day 1 updates, as Apple has only a few devices to support, and this iPhone 13 is running on iOS 18, which is the latest version now. It offers quite a few customizations now, and clearly a bigger change than Android 15 of this year. But it won't get any of the AI features, and you will have to upgrade to iPhone 16 for that, which is actually really annoying and just a move by Apple to push the users to upgrade to a new device. And in Samsung there are no such issues. Even the smaller device gets all the AI features, and they are pretty useful too. The S23 will get updates for only 4 years, as the policy got changed with S24, and it will get updates up to Android 17. So 3 more updates are left, which is quite enough for a device at this price segment. And it gets all the timely updates, and I'm very happy with the update situation. Though it messes up sometimes, but overall S23 seems to be more future proof than Apple, at least in terms of features, and it is not bound by hardware. Coming to the camera part, and here we have a lot of options on the S23. It has 3 really useful cameras, and all these cameras have good resolution. The iPhone on the other hand has 2 cameras on the back and 1 on the front that also houses the Face ID, which works like a charm. And as far as I have observed, the S23 takes some really great shots, be it in daylight, low light or at night. The iPhone on the other hand can capture some really good shots in daylight, but it breaks apart as soon as I start to zoom in, as it doesn't have a telephoto sensor here. And you can see it lags quite a lot in low light as well, and at the night time too. However, the colors are very natural on images captured by iPhone 13. Whereas Samsung does this boosting of colors, and you can turn that off in settings. On the selfie, I think the iPhone takes some really good images, and I feel both are neck to neck, but I prefer the color tones and everything on the iPhone. Now if I talk about the video aspect, the S23 is a clear champion here, as it can take up to 4K 60 from the front facing camera and 8K 30fps from the back camera, which is actually really useful. And if I talk about the battery life now, in this I feel Apple does a better job. Samsung S23 has a great battery life with OneUI 5, and with OneUI 6 it has become decent to good at max, with like 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, and the idle drain is also a bit more on the S23. The iPhone on the other hand will give you 6 to 7 hours easily, and the idle drain is close to 0. And sadly both of these devices charge really slowly as compared to today's standard. The iPhone is stuck at 20 watts and the S23 is stuck at 25 watts. The S23 takes 1 hour 10 minutes to fully charge, and the iPhone 13 takes around 1 hour 30 minutes to fully charge. Now if I talk about performance, Let's start with the benchmark scores, and here they are on your screen. And on paper, the iPhone 13 is still really great in terms of raw benchmarks. The iPhone 13 scores more than S23, and that also translates to real world performance. It can handle anything you throw at it, and the animations and fluidity of iPhone is more than S23. And thanks to the optimizations of Apple, even with the lesser RAM, it performs really good. In gaming aspect, well, none of them are for hardcore gamers, but I prefer S23 in this, as it has ton of features to make your gaming performance really good, and the display is also better, which makes the gaming experience good. In today's usage, I think the iPhone really feels quite good, but I have seen lags and glitches here and there on iOS as well. So if Samsung can work on their animation part, which hopefully will get better with OneUI 7, I think we'll have a much better device in form of S23. Now if I talk about the little things like the call quality, which has been good on both of these devices, and there were no issues with the network reception or Wi-Fi, and the speaker quality is good on the iPhone as compared to the S23. And also I'm not a fan of the lightning port on the Apple, and even Apple is avoiding that right now. So if I were to pick up a device in like 40,000 rupees budget, I think I would clearly pick the S23, as I feel like it is a well balanced device that is a bit future proof and gets all the basics right with decent camera and is really compact too. So if you're in the market for such a device, I think you should definitely pick the S23 over the iPhone 13. So that's it. This was my comparison of the S23 and iPhone 13 in 2024. And if you do end up liking this video, make sure to tap on that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.